flood in Nepal. Hundreds of thousands of Nepalese citizens were affected by the floods, and over 34,000 homes were flooded, destroying 1,000 of them. Parts of the Mahendra Highway, the most important east-west connection in the country, were washed away, and agricultural experts predicted that the country's rice production would be adversely affected. The runway of Biratnagar Airport was flooded and the airport was forced to close on August 15. Nearly 250 people have died in the last few days as a result of flooding and landslides that have devastated parts of northern India, Nepal, and Bangladesh. Millions of people have been displaced across the region, and 245 people are recorded to have been killed by collapsed buildings or by drowning. In Nepal, incessant rain has flooded hundreds of villages, leaving 110 people dead. The government has come under fire for not responding fast enough to the disaster. As security forces scrambled to rescue those marooned on rooftops and helicopters distributed food and water to the worst-hit districts yesterday, the Home Ministry spokesman Ramkrishna Sabiti said relief supplies were being mobilized as soon as possible. Elephants were deployed to help rescue those stranded following 3 days of torrential rain, including 700 tourists in the popular town of Chittagong across Nepal's southern border. 13 districts have been hit by severe flooding in the Indian state of Bihar, leaving 41 people dead. Boats and helicopters were used to distribute food packets, medicine and drinking water to those affected, and some 200,000 people have been provided with temporary shelter across 250 relief camps set up by the authorities in schools and government buildings. In the northern state of Himachal Pradesh, emergency workers have been scouring the area hit by a massive landslide that swept 2 buses into a deep gorge on Sunday, killing 46 people. A further 21 people died in the remote northeastern state of Assam, where soldiers were deployed to rescue those stranded on rooftops. Meanwhile, a third of Bangladesh is flooded after monsoon rains swept through the densely populated riverine country. At least 27 people have died and a further 600,000 have been marooned across the low-lying delta region. Nepal death toll rises to 70 after floods. Landslides and flooding triggered by heavy rain have killed at least 70 people in southern Nepal and left thousands homeless, officials say. Relief workers said 26 of the country's 75 districts were either submerged or had been hit by landslides after heavy rains lashed the Himalayan nation. The death toll was expected to rise with another 50 people reported missing, Information and Communications Minister Mahendra Highway said. More than 60,000 homes were underwater, mainly in the southern plains bordering India. Estimates of losses were not available, with rescuers yet to reach villages marooned by the worst floods in recent years. The Red Cross estimated 100,000 people were affected by the disaster, with one official describing how the storm had cut off communication and electricity. Adding to the challenges in rescuing people and distributing aid. Monsoon rains, which start in June and continue through September, are important for farm-dependent Nepal, but they also cause heavy loss of life and property damage each year. Elephants were deployed to rescue tourists stranded in Nepal's popular tourist town of Chittagong as the death toll from floods and landslides hit 58 after 3 days of torrential rains across the country. The tourists were stranded in Soraha as the swollen Rapti and Budrapti rivers inundated many hotels in the mid-Nepal tourist destination, according to media reports. Suman Gamair, chairman of the Regional Hotel Association, said that around 700 tourists including 200 Nepalese and 200 Indian visitors were trapped and around 100 hotels were waterlogged. He also said that the vehicles of some tourists were swept away in the floods. Some 100,000 people were displaced across Nepal and several villages are under the risk of flood and inundation after rivers flowing from north to south breached their danger levels. The worst affected area was the southern Terai Plains, where around 40,000 houses were badly damaged, according to government data. According to the Home Ministry, the death toll hit 58 and 23 people were reported missing, with the Terai region, which borders India, the worst affected. Thousands of acres of land were submerged and electricity to eastern Terai has been totally cut off, according to the state-owned Nepal Electricity Authority. The region has no landline or mobile phone connectivity since Saturday as several transmission lines were destroyed. Officials said they were fixing the electricity lines. Many highways have been blocked and floods swept away sections of the East-West Highway, which cuts across the width of the country. The government has mobilized security forces to start search and rescue as well as rehabilitation operations. The Home Ministry has appealed people to shift to safer areas. The government has announced relief to the victims and Prime Minister Biratnagar addressed the nation on Saturday. The rain is expected to continue in the coming days, according to the Nepal Meteorological Forecasting Division, raising fears that the rivers will wash away more villages. One person was killed in Panchthar, 4 in Sainthilai, Japa and Banki each, 5 in Morung, 8 in Sunsari, 3 in Sarlayan Circuit each and 2 in Bara and Dang each. Similarly, 7 people died in Ratahat floods and landslides, 2 in Bardia, 1 in Danusha, Makawanpur, Kailai and Palpa districts each. Japa, Morung Sunsari, Saptari, Siraha, Sarlai, Ratahat, Banki, Bardia and Dang districts were the worst affected by flood. Some 35,843 houses have been inundated, 1,000 houses are damaged and 397 livestock died in the floods, the ministry data said. Many cities in the Terai region have been inundated while transportation along the East-West Highway has been halted after a pillar of Dadora Bridge sank at Pathlaya-Nijgat Road section. Nepal floods death tolls touches 91, stranded Indians rescued. 14 people were killed in a landslide in Nepal on Monday, taking the death toll in rain-related incidents across the country to 91 even as a group of stranded Indian nationals were rescued from a national park by using elephants. Incessant rains over the past few days have resulted in massive flooding and landslides at several places, displacing tens of thousands of people. The monsoon rains have wreaked havoc since Friday in districts spanning the eastern, central and western regions of the country. According to the Home Ministry, 91 people were killed and 25 more injured. Another 38 have been reported missing following landslides and floods over the past 3 days, and the death toll is likely to rise, the ministry said. The bodies of 2 Indian nationals were found in Parsa district of Nepal, according to police. Their identities have been established, officials said. A group of 35 Indians stranded at Soraha, part of Chitawan National Park, were rescued by using elephants, an Indian embassy spokesperson told the media. Earlier reports had quoted authorities as saying that 200 Indian tourists were among some 700 stranded people. But the Indian mission said only 35 of them were Indians.